And I want to thank the deputies for bringing forward this motion this evening. And I suppose it's important for me to say it's important for me to make every minute count, because sometimes I don't get asked questions, or they're not selected during priorities or roles under health, or the same under children or disability. So when I get a motion like this evening, I do welcome it, because it gives me an opportunity for me to lay out my stall on the floor of the Dáil. And I want to thank my colleague who has kept, Deputy O'Sullivan, who has kept me company here all evening. It is greatly appreciated. So we are here to discuss, and I believe this is one of the most important and ambitious policy reforms in the health service in recent memory, the implementation of the Progressing Disability Services for Children and Young Persons programme. I think it's clear from this evening's debate that the rollout of the PDS has not been as smooth as anyone would like. There have been a number of issues highlighted, and I think it's important to outline some of the plans I am working on to improve disability services. And the reason I've chosen to select speaking at the end was I wanted to hear everybody's contribution, and hopefully somewhere my contribution we will actually marry in agreement right across the hall, the House here this evening. So firstly, I wish to put on record my sincerest apologies to any family experiencing delays. These families are angry and frustrated at a health service that sees failing their child. Parents should not be left fighting for services, and I am working to make our services better. I am acutely aware of the issues facing families with children with special needs, and it is incumbent on me to meet these families, to hear their experiences, both good and bad, in getting a service for their child, and I have done whatever can be done possible. Later this month, I will be starting a new Parents Forum, which will take place in every county and give parents an opportunity to air their concerns, as well as hearing how PDS should be working for them. I look forward to meeting parents, as well as engaging with the HSE and the lead agencies on the matters raised, and I will have further details on this Parents Forum over the coming weeks. Investing in children's specialist disability multidisciplinary service is an important priority for this government. Over the two budgets I have introduced, I have created an additional 375 posts to strengthen children's disability services across the country, and this is on top of the 100 posts allocated in 2019. As well as increasing staff numbers and new recruits, we also need to stop the flow of staff out of disabilities. To do this, there needs to be more career opportunities for clinicians, so they have space to further develop their skills in disabilities and to keep working in the space. I've been told by lead agencies and the HSE themselves that there needs to be more senior grade posts, and I can confirm to the House that Disabilities will be appointing more senior posts in 2022 than previous years. The HSE has told me that they have indicated to the CHOs that the recruitment of staff at a senior grade, particularly with the goal of enhancing retention, can be accommodated and will be accommodated. The CHOs believe that they will exceed their 2022 allocation. HSE headquarters will consider a business case to allow some increase in senior posts. This is very welcome change for 2022, and I will be continuing to engage with the HSE on this. The role of admin cannot be underestimated, and I have secured more such posts in 2022 budget. Teams need to have sufficient admin staff so that the clinicians can actually do their job. We need to recruit into grade 3s and 5s so the clinicians are actually not doing admin work, answering the phone, but they are actually delivering on intervention. Another important issue raised with me is the increased strain on psychologists. To address this, there has been a request for the use of assistant psychologists on CDNT teams, which would help ease some of the pressure on an already strained area of expertise. The HSE have confirmed to me today that they intend open to the recruitment and deployment of APs in line with what was sanctioned issued to the Department of Health in 2021. And we have seen how this use has been best bolstered in the mental health services, and we must ensure we're utilising all possible resources to support children and families. I hope that substantial investment by this government in all these resources will go a significant way in dealing with concerns expressed by parents and the Ombudsman for Children. And I think it's important to say that while I welcome this conversation this evening, it's a shame that there hasn't been more suggestions, because we do know in the past that the assessment of needs process was not working. We have the SOP there at this moment, and the SOP is currently under review. And when that review is completed, I will take completely on board all the outcomes on it. And I do take on board also what everybody is saying, is that we have cleared a backlog of an assessment of need. That was done. 98% was cleared. SOP came in prior to my arrival into the office. I allowed it to go through, and I am waiting to see the outcome of it, because we have moved from one list to another, and there is no denying that. That is what has happened. But if the review comes back out of it, I will act accordingly. So it is important to know that the SOP is being reviewed at the moment, and the HSE and the unions are engaged in that process, and I will wait the outcome of the review, and I will pursue its recommendations and any potential changes it may suggest. Regarding autism assessment and support specifically, I discussed this matter during a meeting with the WHO last week in Copenhagen. Countries across Europe are trying to address similar issues as here, and there is no consistent approach being taken. Indeed, all countries are looking around to see what the best model of support may be. An interesting point raised by the WHO was that Azerbaijan, a regionalised assessment and diagnosis programme, is in operation and appears to be working for them. It's something I will look into further with the HSE, as there could be lessons learned from this. So basically what would happen is you'd have that preliminary assessment, you'd have a diagnosis assessment team, but at the same time the children will come back in straight into intervention. And I think it was one of our colleagues there who clearly said, what's going on? It needs to be an assessment and diagnosis and intervention, and it should not be diagnosis-led, it should be needs-led. So in actual fact, an assessment should be an intervention. And I think, to be quite honest with you, one of our colleagues was asking, like, what's going on here? Why is there so much? Everything is gone for diagnosis. And there has to be questions asked of education, saying we will only actually accept your child in if they have that diagnosis. They won't get supports if they don't have a diagnosis. But it's important also to put on the record here that the Disability Act nowhere says that you need to have a diagnosis to access education. And I take on board as well in relation to what Deputy O'Riordan said in relation to the EPSAN Act and the Disability Act. Both of them do need reviewing. That there is no doubt about whatsoever. So we must strike a balance to ensure no child is left waiting, and I am determined to ensure disability services are functioning fully and working for families, not leaving them stranded without support. I would also like to confirm to the House that I am working on a package of supports to provide the CD&T teams with additional supports to address both the backlog of autism assessments and to provide additional therapeutic supports, and I hope to confirm that in the coming weeks. To finish up, I want to assure the House that I will leave no stone unturned when it comes to finding solutions that we've discussed here this evening. Let me finally advise the House regarding the ratification of the UNCRPD optional protocol. Minister Gorman and I have indicated that we are open to an earlier ratification of the optional protocol if possible. Our approach to the UNCRPD since ratification of the main convention has been one of progressive realisation, where we step by step and year on year we are making progress towards full implementation. And I do want to acknowledge the work in relation to the parents, and I again want to apologise to the parents that are left on waiting list. I want to acknowledge the work of As I Am, Involve Autism, and I'm going to leave people out, but Inclusion Ireland and the Rainbow Club in Cork, who are doing phenomenal work and peer-to-peer supporting parents but also supporting children. Like the Rainbow Club in Cork is not open a year at this stage, and they're supporting 500 families in a particular area, and it's phenomenal to see what they're able to do with their community centre. And I want to thank the Disability Martyrs for putting such a focus on disability and allowing various voices to come in to actually share the experience and to take from the learning. There was one or two other things here. In relation to the autism was also raised, what exactly is happening with the autism strategy. Consultation document will be published in the coming weeks, seeking an input from the autism community on what direction they think it should be taken and the priority issues that they want to focus on. I have secured funding for the autism strategy, so the next phase of it will be announced very, very soon. So I want to thank Minister Donnelly and Minister O'Gorman for ensuring that the funding that I will announce in the coming weeks to deal with the backlog of assessment of diagnosis in relation to autism, that waiting list that a lot of the families are very frustrated about. However, I need to ensure it happens in every single CHO. There will be a substantial investment. There will be an actual plan of addressing that waiting list. But at the same time, it's only as good as the integration into the PDS teams that will be there. Thank you.